All right, 8 o'clock hour is here. We're going to talk about the Lions coming up at 8:35. Taylor Decker out. What's next? And we'll do that at 8:35. But first, John, the Pistons. Is it panic in Pistons town as they've lost 4 in a row, including blowing a 23-point lead to the Brooklyn Nets, terrible team, and getting run off the floor against the Miami Heat the very next night? J.B. Bickerstaff saying they didn't respect the game. Jalen Duren saying they need to lock in. What's your level of panic?
So let's also throw on that Jason Tatum's back, and Boston is now only 2.5 games back of the Pistons for that one spot in the Eastern Conference. I'm not in panic mode right now. You are allowed to have ups and downs throughout the course of the season. We don't love it that this is happening now with very few weeks, and I think maybe we've been trained by the Tigers to have concerns when it comes to this time of the year. But I'm not going to panic. I already last week watching them against Cleveland, watching them against San Antonio, and it was more, when you watch them against San Antonio, it's more San Antonio than it was the Pistons.
Yeah,
and it's Wembanyama than it was the Pistons. A little concerned against Cleveland, but let's see them respond. Let's see what JB has in his bag of tricks to get these guys re-energized and playing good basketball again, playing for the entirety of the game, not just the first half, not just the second half, but for 4 quarters.
I saw this yesterday. Reference the Tigers. It's a photoshopped Jake Rogers. Please let the Pistons get hot.
Yeah.
Please. This is their longest losing streak of the year. J.B. Bickerstaff says the execution post-All-Star game, there's been slippage. Yeah, we see it. Now, some of this is you lose Assar in that Spurs game, right? Yeah. He is the tip of the spear. He allows them to be as elite defensively as they've been. At the same time, losing Assar Thompson shouldn't result in losing a lead like that to the Brooklyn Nets, and it shouldn't be a game like Miami where you're not even in it. So I'm willing to grant them that the Assar loss is noteworthy, certainly takes that elite defensive edge away. They still can't play the way they did this weekend. Without Assar Thompson, John, there's no timetable right now. If he misses a few more games, they can't play that way.
No. And so, but I will say this. All right, that's a tough stretch. It was Oklahoma City and Cleveland at home, and then it was on the road to Orlando. They won all 3 of those. And we know,
to be fair,
Cleveland wasn't playing,
and OKC was a G League team.
Correct. But it's still, you're still getting up for those games. And then it was on the road at Cleveland, on the road at San Antonio. The Brooklyn loss, there's no excuse for that. And I thought the Miami one, I thought the Brooklyn one was probably the worst loss of the season. But now all of a sudden, hey, you get another shot at Brooklyn, which, not that you need another shot at Brooklyn, but it should be a get-right game on Tuesday. You got the Sixers, who are, in that play-in range right now. Memphis, Toronto, a couple of games against Washington. It is a time where you can find your mojo, get your confidence back, and get rocking and rolling again.
Threw something out last week, kind of workshopping it, and I feel stronger about it even today. The Pistons are a one-dimensional team. That dimension is elite defense. When that goes away, I mean, they're a one offensive option team. They've got to get stops. They've got to run in transition. When the faucet turns off on defense, they aren't that team anymore. I mean, they are one-dimensional. Now, to be clear, that one dimension has carried them to the 1 seed. Yeah. That one dimension could win them a big playoff series. But it is a one way they can play to win. And if they don't defend, and they haven't, and the Assar Thompson injury is part of that, if they don't defend at a not good, not great, but an elite level, this team's not going very far in the postseason.
And that's the concern is, have the rest of the teams, have they finally turned it on? Teams that got better at the trade deadline, that's Cleveland. Teams that are more experienced, they're more veteran teams. They're getting closer to the postseason. They're getting healthy. Jason Tatum's back in Boston. Are they just simply getting better? And the Pistons are just where they were for the entirety of the season. And all the other ones they've turned it on.
They have an extra gear.
Yeah.
So Tatum scored 20 in 27 minutes. They played at Cleveland. They won the game by double digits.
Yeah, and over the weekend they said, hey, no minutes restriction. He's good to go.
They're only 2.5 games back. I mean, the Pistons could lose the 1 seed in a week. So, yeah, I mean, there's a level of panic from that standpoint.
Sure.
that if Detroit doesn't get the 1 seed, their path could be playing both Cleveland and Boston. And you say Cleveland maybe hasn't hit their stride.
Cleveland has a lot further to go, but it's about playing really good basketball in the playoffs.
Yeah, and again, do they have an extra gear? I mean, I'll always question how Harden's going to play deep in a playoff series, but adding him, and they've played better since, they have another gear. If those two teams hit their extra gear and the Pistons' one-dimensional defense-first basketball doesn't show up, they will get popped much earlier than we had considered, and that's why you wonder, do you start walking back what we thought this team was going to do this season?
Right, because that extra gear, where are you going to find that little extra juice, that extra gear? Because Jalen Duren had 24 points, Cade had 26, had 10 assists, but then you look at everybody else, and okay, Isaiah had 14, Paul Reed had 10, and a whole lot of 2s, 3s, 4s after that. Like, there's just no one to turn to that can go. I mean, Kevin Huerter was 0 for.
Well, you know who they're going to be turning. Well, sure, I'd love the guy they had at the deadline to be the guy. Ron Holland. I mean, in the absence of Assar, this is kind of his opportunity to spread his wings. It's a little bit like Casper with the Wings if Larkin's out for a while. Like, you're a young player, man. Mm-hmm. This is your opportunity with bigger minutes, a big spotlight. Go out there, and you're going to have to, again, be a force on defense and knock down a couple shots. 248-539-9797. John, we got people using the F word.
Uh-oh.
The Pistons might be the biggest 1-seed frauds in NBA history. We've seen 1 seeds lose to 8 seeds. Come on, people.
Well, okay, but I'm also not going to say sit there and say I'm concerned about them losing to an 8 seed.
As well as Charlotte's played, that would be the tough matchup.
Right. And I don't know you can go through the season, earn the 1 seed, and be a fraud. Now, this year is a little bit different because Halliburton's not playing. He's not coming back for Indiana. Even if he did right now, they're completely out of it. But Jason Tatum is coming back. They got better, and it wasn't just a trade deadline acquisition. Cleveland got better because they added James Harden, and they're just playing better.
Yeah. Guys, there's no panic because I've seen the cracks forming for weeks. Now the dam is finally broke. I fully accept this team is going to finish as the 3 or 4 seed, gets swept in the first round.
Oh, they're not going to finish as a 3 or 4 seed. I mean, it's as much as Cleveland is playing better, they're still 6.5 back.
With less than 20 games to go now?
Yeah, and the Knicks are in the 3 seed right now. And there's, I wouldn't even, I put the Knicks, the top 3 teams, Detroit, Boston, and Cleveland. Mm-hmm. The Knicks are the next tier down.
Yeah. And, okay, I'm even going to play along with this. Let's say they did fall to 3. Who would they draw in the first round?
I'll let you do the math on that one.
Well, my point is, like, I think they would win that series. I mean, you could say that they're not Boston with healthy Tatum, but to say they couldn't beat the Raptors,
or the Magic,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
I think that's a leap that I'm not willing to take that leap. This team should win a playoff series. This team with the right seeding should win 2 playoff series, and I'm done saying should after that.
But the problem with that comment is with the right seeding.
And if they fall out of the 1 seed,
yeah,
now all of a sudden you start to take the tumble.
That's why you look at the schedule. It was a tough road for about for 2 weeks, and it starts to ease up a little bit. And this is where they've got to put some distance, or at least keep that distance at 2.5.
And now I'm looking over here to always even keel Tom Milliken, who has thread
I'm not
the
sure
needle.
about that.
Sarcasm. But you may have thread the needle perfectly on this. You were more optimistic preseason than us. We believed things that seem to be taking a step back, and they might be where you've said all along, which is a second-round playoff team.
They've adopted this grit mentality, and they show up and they try virtually every night. I don't know about last night, but
Or Saturday.
It's going to win you a lot of games in the NBA, and I felt like they had a superstar on their team, but they don't have a number 2, and it's starting to get exposed. Duren's a 3. So, look, I thought Cleveland was going to be a problem. I anticipated Tatum coming back, not this early, but I thought he would. And I was already fearful of the Celtics before that. Like, I just think the way they play basketball is the way it's supposed to be played in the NBA these days with the 3-point shooting.
Yeah.
The Pistons are trying to do, you used to thread the needle. They're trying to thread this needle into doing it the opposite way. I think that only gets you so far. A texter kind of put it that way. It's the try-hard thing can only take you so far. If you don't have somebody that can make a shot besides Cade Cunningham, you have a problem. And even say a little bit, I am concerned that they may be an easier matchup for teams than last year because of no Beasley.
So it's funny. I was going to make a football comparison, apples to oranges. But Bill Belichick's defenses were always known for trying to make the other team play left-handed, was a way they would phrase it, right? Like, you can't play your way. What if in a 7-game series, the other teams force the Pistons to play left-handed? That becomes really tough for them to pull off. If they don't get the transition buckets, if K doesn't have the ball, can you win 4 times in a 7-game series playing left-handed? Whereas Boston, okay, hey, we can smother Brown. Well, here's Tatum. Or in the case of Cleveland, if Spider Mitchell's having a rough day, James Harden could pour in 35 on a given night. They can play left-handed better than the Pistons can.
You said it. They're one-dimensional. They are. Therefore, they're an easy matchup. They're easy to prepare for.
Take an inventory, 4 straight losses, longest losing streak of the season for the Pistons. Level of panic. Panic in Pistons town. It's 97-1.